Hey everyone, my name is Rich. I'm going to be doing a video and hopefully a series of videos if they go well, talking a little bit about mental illness. To start, I just want to say that if anyone right now watching this video is in any sort of crisis, if you feel like you are in danger, if you want to hurt yourself or anything like that, please close out this video, go to your nearest emergency room, or call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. Their number is 1-800-273-8255. Okay, so a little bit about myself. My name is Rich. I'm going to be 35 years old in a couple of weeks. I have been living with mental illness since I was 16 years old. When I first started out, I became very depressed. Around 17 years old is when I started to self harm. I would cut myself, usually once a week. It progressed until it got to the point when I was 18 years old and I attempted suicide. I did spend some time in a psych ward hospital. Upon release, I did do some outpatient, after which I decided to leave because the medication became too much for me. Afterwards, I decided that I wanted to learn more about mental illness and about my illnesses in particular. This actually propelled me down the career path that I'm on now, which is as a mental health counselor. I've been doing this now for almost 7 years. I actually supervise a group home, and I enjoy the work that I do very much. Um, I also still today struggle with my mental illness. I do still see a psychiatrist. I am on medication. I have been diagnosed with major depressive, with bipolar, with generalized anxiety disorder, borderline personality disorder. So I, like many of you that may be watching this video, are also struggling and maybe trying to learn more about your illness as well. Maybe some of you watching do not have your own illness, but are trying to understand it because you have a friend, a loved one, that have mental illness and you want to learn more so that maybe you are better equipped to help them. So, what I want to talk a little bit about right now is about the stigma surrounding mental health. Mental health is something that unfortunately not a lot of people talk about. It has recently become something that has become more talked about, but I still believe that there's a lot of negative stigma surrounding mental illness. I'm sure anyone that has a mental illness and that has dealt with depression has had someone at least tell them once before that, oh, someone has it worse off than you. There's no reason why you should be so upset. Or, oh, it's just not a big deal. You just need to get over it. Or things like that. And that's something, coming from someone that has dealt with mental illness for a very long time, is very hurtful. And it tells me that not a lot of people understand mental illness because there is a big difference between sadness and depression. Um, Anyone experiencing sadness could be an episodic episode, a loved one passes away, or you got a bad grade on your math test, or something like that. Depression is not as simple. Depression can come on for any reason at any time, and it can last for a day, it can last for a week, it can last longer. So, understanding depression is, I believe, one of the first steps in understanding mental illness in general, because depression is something that everyone with a mental illness is likely going to be experiencing at some point. Um, and that's not something that goes away, even when you become stable on medications. If you become stable on medications, relapse is always possible. It is a part of recovery and it is about growing and learning. So don't be afraid to speak out about your feelings. And I know that's difficult to do, trying to find someone to come out to and really open yourself up to. In general, can be something very difficult to do. When it's something as difficult as mental illness, not a lot of people feel that they can talk to someone about that. It's hard to tell someone, hey, I'm depressed. I don't know why. It's hard to explain a panic attack to someone that has never experienced a panic attack before. Um, Self harm in particular, I struggle with that myself. I've only told a couple people about it, so this video, for anyone that sees it, may be the first time knowing that this has become, unfortunately, a part of my life. It is something that I am embarrassed about, and I am not happy that it's something that I do. But I feel that it's important to speak out about it and hope that this is something that maybe can encourage other people to feel like, hey, it is okay to talk about these things. You know, yes, there will be some people out there that may be scared of that. And admittedly, it is a scary thing. Imagine being a loved one and finding out that your child or your friend, is cutting themselves, is burning themselves. That could be a very scary thing. But the best way to go and talk about it is to also try to understand it. And that is also another reason why I wanted to make this video, maybe to try to help other people understand the act of self-harm as well as mental illness itself. So I talked a little bit about myself and about my experiences. Now, it's not easy for me right now to even be talking about these things, as I'm not only just talking to a friend or a loved one, I am talking to anyone and everyone that is watching this video. So I am putting myself out there to all of you in hopes that my story may inspire you if you are going through anything with depression, anxiety, anything like that, to feel that you can also talk to others about it. If you don't feel like you can talk to a family member or a friend about it, there are some great groups on Facebook that you can join with a community of people that are going through similar situations, different situations, um, maybe dealing with things like therapy, same different kind of medications, electroconvulsive therapy, things like this. And for me, joining some of these groups, I met some incredible people that helped me out a lot in dealing with my decline, which started last year, and encouraging me to seek help. I learned that after I had another episode and ended up in crisis last year, that I did have many people that cared about me and reached out to support me and wanted to help me in any way possible. And even though they did not know the extent of my illness, it did feel good to know that there were people that were looking out for me and caring. And even though they didn't know everything that was going on with me, they wanted to understand. And I am hopeful that there will be some that maybe watch this video that want to learn more about mental illness like I did. And maybe it's not going to be something that you want to make a career out of like I did, but it's something that even if you don't know someone in particular that is dealing with this, you never know. You never know. Your best friend, your mother, your son, they could be dealing with these kinds of things and just put on that, what I call the mask of happiness. When you are just feeling so defeated and lost and depressed, but you have to put on an appearance because you have to go to school, you have to go to work, um, seeing your parents, you don't want them to know how much you're suffering. So you just, you know, switch gears and you put on like a different you. And that way you don't feel vulnerable. You don't feel that your feelings are going to leak out to others to the point where they're going to just come out and say, what's wrong with you? shake it off, get over it. It's not that big of a deal, because that's not how mental illness works. We can't just shake it off. It's not something that just goes away. Um, a lot of times, us with depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, these are things that don't go away. They can be managed with medication, and a lot of times people can become stabilized. However, there is no cure for any of these illnesses. There's no magical pill that's going to make schizophrenia go away, bipolar go away. So that's why a lot of times people need additional support, therapy. Some people benefit greatly from weekly therapy sessions. Other people, like myself, I go to see a psychiatrist once every 3 months. We talk for about a half an hour, talk about what's going on. Maybe there's some medication changes I need. Of course, he encourages me to go to therapy, but sometimes therapy just isn't for everyone. Sometimes it's more, you feel more vulnerable sitting in a room with someone else, just talking to essentially a stranger, um, which maybe is similar to going on these Facebook groups, but that I feel is easier because you're talking to people that have been dealing with some of the same things. And it doesn't matter where you live. I live in the United States. I live in New Jersey. I've talked to people from all over the world. I have friends in Australia. I have friends in the UK, all over the place. Um, and there is no language barrier there. Everyone in any part of the world, doesn't matter where you come from, it does not matter your age, your sex, your race, your religion. Mental illness does not discriminate. It can affect any of us and all of us. So it is beneficial to not only understand it for yourself, but for others to be able to understand it so that stigma can go away. We all need to be able to speak up and talk about what's bothering us. When you go to a doctor, your medical doctor, your primary, you talk to them about how you're feeling. Oh, I've been having stomach problems, I've been having headaches, things like that. Mental illness should be just the same as any sort of physical medical illness that you have. But a lot of times people don't feel that they can talk about it because it's embarrassing. And I'll admittedly, it was embarrassing for me too at first. It was embarrassing for me to admit to my doctor, yes, I suffer from depressive episodes. I don't know what's going on with me. Sometimes I have thoughts of suicide, and I have recently started picking up a razor blade and cutting myself. That is something that is very difficult for anyone to say because you don't know the reaction that you're going to get. But for those of you that suffer from any kind of mental illness, whether you self harm, self mutilate, however you want to call it, or not, you really need to not bottle it up and keep it to yourself. I used to do that, and that was what led to my first suicide attempt when I was 18 years old. I did not talk to anyone about it. I was the one that was wearing long sleeves in summertime, because I did not want anyone to see my cuts, see my scars. I did not want to be judged. So I understand that. So whether or not this is something that you do, and if you don't do it, great. I'm very happy for you. If it is something that you do, I do not think any less of you as a person. I think that you are a fantastic individual and you are hurting and you need to talk to someone. If you don't feel that there is anyone that you can talk to, um, if you don't have any way to go see a psychiatrist, see a therapist, like I said, I suggest maybe trying to check out some of these Facebook groups. There's plenty of great groups for people with depression and anxiety talks, people that suffer from self harm episodes, people that are suicide survivors, either people that have attempted or family members that are of people, loved ones that have committed suicide and are trying to, understand why, what happened, what was going on that made them feel that they needed to leave. So these are the kinds of things that I'm hoping to talk about in further episodes. Again, I don't know how far this will go. This is the first YouTube channel that I've ever done, the first video I have ever done. I'm hoping to receive some positive feedback. And if there's anything that anyone would like for me to talk more about, talk less about, give me any suggestions, comments, I would greatly appreciate it and encourage it, because that will help me to be able to help more of you, that I can provide whatever information that I can. I have learned a lot as I have made it my career. As I said, I was a psychology major, getting my bachelor's degree from Stockton University. Currently seeking my graduate's or my master's degree in clinical mental health counseling. So I've been doing this for a number of years. And even though I have learned a great deal about mental illness, there is still a lot more that I have to learn, a lot more that I want to learn. So in that sense as well, if there is anything that anyone watching this video would like me to talk about and I don't know about it, let's talk about it together. Reach out. We can discuss it. I am happy to do more research. I do research on my own all the time. I have a DSM-5. I refer to it a lot. I look up things because I have clients that want to understand their illnesses as well. I ask them all the time when they come in, do you know what this medication is? What does it do for you? They don't know. I look it up for them because I feel it's important. It's important to know the medications that you're taking, what you're putting in your body, what it's doing for you, because only then can you know if it's something that's really helping you or not. If you find out that you're on an antidepressant and you're still depressed, then that's something that you want to talk to your doctor about, because not one medication is going to work for everyone. That's why there's many different kinds of medications. So again, these are the kinds of things that are not talked about as much. It has grown recently. We have Mental Health Awareness Month, which I think is great. It is a great opportunity for all of us to be able to speak up and say, hey, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I suffer from panic attacks, I hate myself, which is something I say all the time. I hate myself. I feel like I'm a waste of space. I don't feel that I belong here. These are the thoughts that I struggle with daily. And sometimes I'm not sure if they're ever going to go away. And maybe this web video and possibly series that I'm making will be something that will maybe help me as much as it can help any of you, which I hope it will. And like I said, this is just to be like kind of a general sort of what I will be talking about if I get enough feedback and views to warrant me doing further videos like this, where I will go into more detail on different kinds of illnesses and the way we look at them, the way they can be treated, why they're viewed negatively by certain people, how we can go about talking about it in different ways and being comfortable in talking about it, because I think that that is one of the most important things when it comes to having a mental illness, is being able to talk about it. When I was 17 and I first started cutting, I did not tell anyone about it. No one knew. When I had my suicide attempt, none of my friends knew until I had already taken everything that I was taking. They rushed me to the hospital, and I had a friend go at midnight to my parents' house and wake them up out of bed and tell them, hey, your son tried to kill himself, and now he is in the emergency room. They are pumping his stomach and trying to bring him back. And that was the first time my parents ever knew that I was depressed. And that is not something that I would want anyone to ever have to go through, not only to feel that they have to hide these things from their loved ones, but also to have a loved one find out And fortunately, my life was able to be saved. I could have died that night, and my parents would have woken up the next morning, having fallen asleep thinking that they had a perfectly happy 18-year-old, and then waking up to find out that their 18-year-old son had just killed himself and that they had no idea why he had done it. So, in closing, I would just like to encourage any and all of you that if you suffer from any kind of mental illness, please talk to someone, whether it's a friend, whether it's a family member, whether it's calling the suicide hotline and just speaking with someone. Get your feelings out there. Join a Facebook group if you have Facebook. You know, there's plenty of people that you can talk to. Strangers aren't going to judge you. Like I said, I've met plenty of great people through these groups. Some of them I'm still in touch with today. One in particular, we have become very close. We speak on a daily basis, not just about mental illness, about everything. And it's turned into a great friendship for me. Um, so, again, these are great ways for us to be able to speak on some of the things that bother us. I mean, everyone has something that bothers them from time to time, the severity of which can vary. Obviously, I'm speaking in the more severe cases because, as I said, in my case, I have suffered for a very long time. I have tried to take my life more than once. Self-harm is still an issue for me to this day. And I am still trying to learn more about myself and my illnesses, how they affect me, and how I can go about positively um, facing them. You know, and even then, there's going to be good days. There's going to be bad days. It's important to take the good days when they come, and when the bad days come, um, just try to reach out to someone. I isolate a lot. I'm trying to get into a better habit of just calling a friend and just saying, hey, you know, I'm not doing so good today. You know, are you around? Is there any way we can just talk for a little bit? Can you maybe come over? Can we spend some time together? I reach out to a friend on a Facebook group, you know, hey, you know, I'm not doing so well today. Some of them, you know, out of nowhere, we won't talk for months, will reach out to me, hey, Rich, you know, I was just thinking about you. I just wanted to reach out and see how you were doing today, you know, and see if there was anything you wanted to talk about. Um, to those watching this video that do not have mental illness per se, but know someone that does, I am hoping to be able to provide you with some of my knowledge and educational experience to help you understand. And if one of your loved ones, your son, your daughter, your best friend, cousin, whatever the case may be, were to come to you and tell you, hey, I'm not doing very well, I am depressed, these are the thoughts that I'm having, instead of not knowing how to approach that situation and respond, maybe you'll be better equipped to say, hey, you know, I understand. I'm really sorry that you're feeling this way. Maybe we could sit down and talk about this. Tell me what's bothering you. You know, what's going on? What can we do to maybe help you out? I think what we all need to ask ourselves is, you know, it's okay, maybe not ask so much, but to tell ourselves that it is okay to have these feelings. You know, it's okay to be depressed. It's okay to have anxiety. It's okay to admit that we are weak and that sometimes we are at our very lowest point where we feel like there is no coming back from, and that we need help. I need help. You need help. And that's okay. It's okay to admit that you need help and that you're struggling and that you just want someone to talk to you and understand, or at least try to understand. And not a lot of people do understand because again, that stigma is there, that mental illness, some people, I've heard people say, mental illness doesn't exist. You're just depressed for no reason. Maybe things aren't going the way that you wanted them to. So get out there, go and make the change that you want to make. And I think that's a really shallow way of looking at it. That is not how mental illness works. It is not like a light switch that you can just flip off, flip on. It is not something that necessarily comes on because something bad happened to you. I can go to bed perfectly happy one night and wake up the next morning miserable. Nothing happened to me. I was sleeping, but it just happens. So, again, to those that are suffering, I feel your suffering. I'm going through it myself. I hope that this video and maybe future videos will be able to help. To those that do not have mental illness, that want to just understand it more, either for themselves, for a loved one. Maybe you are a student like I used to be, just going through your undergraduate, your graduate programs. Maybe you just are looking for some more insights in your studies. Hopefully, I am able to provide you with that kind of help as well. In closing, I would just like to say thank you for watching my video. And again, if you have any comments, suggestions, please leave them for me in the comments. And I would also ask that if this video helped you out in any way, please share it to your friends. I'm hoping that this can reach as many people as possible, maybe on multiple platforms, because again, my purpose in this video is to try to raise awareness of mental health and encourage people to speak up about it, because it is okay to admit that you are struggling and that you need help. I did, and I am glad that I did. It might have saved my life. So please, please ask for help if you need it. Please reach out if you need to. I am here for you, and I hope that these videos will be able to provide some help as well. Bless you all. Have a wonderful night.